Hey there, welcome to Fun Learn Talks, the podcast where we break down business, technology, and history into stories that sparks your mind and makes you smarter. I'm Anu, and we explore ideas that shaped the world from empires and entrepreneurs to code and culture. If you love connecting dots and asking why things are the way they are, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's story. And then there was what Napoleon called the Spanish Ulcer, the Peninsular War, marked by its brutality and depicted poignantly by Francisco Goya. On one haunting canvas, Goya shows May 3, 1808, a grim scene with the French firing squad executing Spanish rebels. Ironically, this harsh repression sparked a national uprising, not submission. The Spanish fought back fiercely, their resistance embodied in both guerrilla warfare and larger military engagements, tying down a significant portion of French forces and significantly straining Napoleon's military resources. Meanwhile, on the Iberian Peninsula, another storm was brewing. The Peninsular War stretched from 1808 to 1814, giving the British forces under Duke of Wellington a platform to shine. The combined strain of the guerrilla warfare, which locked down an army of 30,000 men, and the conventional battles outlined an unsustainable campaign for the French. What's moving here, amidst the political and military maneuvers, is the emergence of art as a response to the horrors of war. Goya's sketches weren't just art, they were political statements, vivid broadcasts of the human cost of Napoleon's ambitions. From Enlightenment despot to a ruler embroiled in unsustainable wars, Napoleon's journey echoes the age old truth: with great power comes monumental challenges. Each step of his conquest and subsequent downfall reflects not just a military or political lesson, but a deeply human one. Interesting, right? Let's keep going. In as the sun bore down on the Iberian Peninsula, the Duke of Wellington fiercely pressed forward, capturing key victories with his strategic brilliance. Imagine the scene at Talavera in 1809, Salamanca in 1812, and Vitoria in 1830. Each battle piercing further into the flank of Napoleon's empire, leaving what was once a daunting force now resembling more of a running sore. Wellington's critical eye didn't spare even his allies, once remarking about the Spanish, "I never knew the Spanish do anything, let alone do anything well." Meanwhile, across Europe, the spirit of resistance was being kindled in the hearts of the Austrians and Prussians, fueled by a mix of patriotic resentment and a looming fear of their future under Napoleon's shadow. These nations were itching to reclaim their place. In Prussia, leaders like Stein and Hardenberg drew inspiration from France's own methods, embarking on sweeping reforms to galvanize their state. They prepared fervently, hoping for an opportune moment to strike back. Shifting our gaze to Austria, the situation grew tense. The Austro-French War of 1809 showcased a determined Austria pushed back into conflict by French missteps in Spain. Despite their improved army, the Austrians were outmaneuvered and defeated at Wagram in July 1809. Vienna fell under occupation once more, leading to the harsh pace of Schondron. And in a final twist, the enforced alliance through Napoleon's marriage to Marie-Louise, sealing Austria's temporary fate. As tensions simmered between Napoleon and Tsar Alexander of Russia, fueled by the disruptive continental system and territorial disputes over Turkey, Poland, and Sweden, the stage was set for a monumental clash. In June 1812, Napoleon, perhaps overconfident, marshaled an enormous army of 450,000 troops. Surprisingly, only a third were French and marched into Russia. This decision led to one of history's most harrowing military retreats. The Russian strategy was simple yet devastating: retreat, extend Napoleon's lines dangerously, and scorched earth. Villages burned and food sources destroyed left the French to face not just the enemy, but starvation themselves. By the time Napoleon limped into Smolensk, his forces dwindled to 160,000. Though a victory at Borodino allowed him a brief occupation of Moscow, the Russians set their own city aflame to deny him comfort or quarter. And then, General Winter took his toll. By the time the remnants of the Grande Army staggered back across the Niemen River in December 1812, a mere 30,000 frostbitten, weary soldiers remained. This catastrophic failure marked a significant turning point. This backdrop of continuous conflict and mounting defeats set the stage for the awakening of a collective European resistance against Napoleon. The year 1830 saw a cascade of defections from his once cohesive alliance. Prussia led the charge in February, soon followed by Saxony, Bavaria, Sweden, and Austria. The Battle of Leipzig, or the Battle of the Nations, in October 1813, epitomized this massive shift. Here, the combined forces of Napoleon's embittered ex-allies decisively defeated him, fueled by their disdain for the burdens of war and the ruin it brought to all classes. Yet, it was also the pragmatic self-interest of German rulers, sensing the tide turning, that catalyzed this pivotal coalition against a common adversary. Interesting, right? Don't go anywhere as we delve deeper into how these monumental events not only reshaped the landscape of Europe but also set the stage for the dramatic conclusion of an empire that once seemed unstoppable. Let's keep going. As we approach the conclusion of our journey through the tumultuous era of Napoleon, we find ourselves reflecting on a man driven by boundless ambition and a vision for Europe that was both grandiose and ultimately unattainable. Napoleon's pursuit of glory, influence, and control, underpinned by what some might call a streak of megalomania, propelled him to heights few could dream of, and yet set the stage for his dramatic fall. Here's something concrete to ponder. Despite his vast military prowess and initial string of successes, Napoleon's empire began to crumble from within. At the heart of this downfall was the creation of the Fourth Coalition, a formidable alliance formed in March 1814. Nations once divided by Napoleon's manipulations, including Russia, Prussia, Austria, and Britain, were unified under the Treaty of Chaumont. This 20-year pact was a testament to their commitment to dethrone a man who sought to bend Europe to his will. As the coalition forces closed in, internal strife within France further sealed Napoleon's fate. Remember Chaumont, famously surrendering to a solitary horseman? Such incidents signaled the eroding support within Napoleon's ranks, culminating in an internal coup. Among the conspirators, Talleyrand was pivotal, orchestrating a shift that would eventually restore the Bourbon monarchy. And so, on the 6th of April, 1814, Napoleon was compelled to abdicate, leading to his swift exile to the island of Elba, seemingly the end of his reign. Yet, history had one more chapter for Napoleon, marked by what is known as the 100 Days. In a remarkable turn of events, Napoleon escaped Elba in 1815, rallying an army that was disillusioned by the potential return of the old guard. His return, however, would be fleeting. The Waterloo campaign, spanning from March to June 1815, saw Napoleon initially catching the Allied forces off guard, but his final defeat came at the Battle of Waterloo on the 18th of June after the timely arrival of Prussian reinforcements. In the aftermath, the Second Treaty of Paris imposed harsher conditions on France, a testament to the European powers' determination to limit French influence and preclude any future threats akin to Napoleon's rule. The 700 million francs indemnity and the reassertion of France's 1790 borders were clear markers of his fallen empire's diminished stature. Let that sink in. The meteoric rise and fall of one of history's most iconic figures not only reshaped borders, but also left an indelible mark on the European consciousness. Exiled again, this time to the remote island of Saints Helena, Napoleon spent his last years ruminating over his past glories and missteps, crafting memoirs that would fuel the legend of his imperial dreams. Despite his physical confinement, his ideas remained unbound, envisioning a Europe of unified nations, a precursor to what some might see as an early concept of a united Europe. As we wrap up this chapter, it's a reminder that the echoes of history reverberate through the ages. Napoleon's legacy is not merely one of warfare and conquest, but also of the ideas he left behind. The potential for a united continent, at peace with itself. The narrative of Napoleon serves as a powerful illustration of how ambition can drive one to the pinnacle of power and, simultaneously, to the precipice of downfall. So, what can we take away from all this? Perhaps it is the enduring nature of human aspiration and the complexities of legacy. Napoleon's dreams of empire and his visions for Europe stir us to think about the fine line between greatness and hubris, between visionary leadership and tyrannical overreach. As we ponder these reflections, we are reminded of the profound impact one individual can have on the course of history, shaping not only the geopolitical landscape of their time, but also the generations that follow. Napoleon's life invites us to question our own ambitions and the legacies we wish to leave behind. Surely, it's a contemplation as vast as the empire he once envisioned. That's it for today's episode on Fun Learn Talks, where stories from business, technology, and history keep your curiosity alive. If you enjoyed the journey, make sure to follow, rate, or share it with a fellow curious mind. And hey, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment or connect with us online. I'm Anu, and I'll catch you next time, right here on Fun Learn Talks. Until then, keep learning, keep wondering.